I am an eternal optimist. So please, God, don't tell me that you're an eternal pessimist.
I like to say I'm a realist.
Oh, that's great. We're going to go along great. This is going to be great.
This is Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out. German breaking ball. 7th strikeout for Freddy Peralta, who is dealing this afternoon. Nothing new for Peralta, especially at American Family Field in Milwaukee. It's a 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss and a curveball. He struck him out. 8th strikeout for Freddy Peralta. Corners 0 for 2. He's grounded out and struck out. The pitch. Struck him out swinging for a fastball by him at 96, and he strikes out 3 in the inning. 9 Ks in the game for Freddy Peralta through 5 sparkling innings in game 1.
That'll be it for Freddy Peralta. But what a start it was. Fans rise to their feet in Milwaukee. The Brewers ace getting them into the 6th, and he legs it to a rousing ovation.
Fastball Freddy was on one that day. Oh, man. That's it, eh? It just kind of hit me. Weird. Like, I've been doing, I have all sorts of papers in front of me. I've done all the research. I know who we traded. I know who we got back. And then you play that audio, Josh, and I'm like, damn, it's over. Oh.
It's over, Johnny. It's
that
over.
was from NLDS Game 1 this past postseason. You could hear Jeff Levering there, plus the TV call, courtesy of the Brewers Radio Network. And who was that? I heard that
Alex
at the
Faust.
end there.
Yeah, this is the play-by-play guy.
I love it. I love Freddy Peralta, but I also do love saving $8 million. Can we use that? We shall see. What's up, Wisconsin? Welcome in. Inside Wisconsin Sports. Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht.
Hi.
Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Let's jump right in and play catch-up. Lots to cover from yesterday. Packers, Brewers, Badgers, Bucks, other. The biggest news of the day is the Brewers, but it's Wisconsin. So let's start with the Packers.
Yeah.
That's what we do best here.
Yeah, that's fair.
The defensive coordinator carousel is moving quickly, yet there's a little bit of a waiting game. We'll explain. Al Harris, remember that name?
Of course.
He interviewed, I believe, yesterday. Packers Hall of Famer, was a Packer from 2003 to 2010, the very famous "we want the ball and we're going to score" Seahawks playoff interception for the win.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently a pretty good defensive mind who led the Bears, not as defensive coordinator, but to 23 takeaways in the NFL, and that was the league leading stat for them. Josh, how do you feel about potentially Al Harris as the next defensive coordinator for the Packers?
I like it because that level of play that he had, and then that is the same style he's coaching, is exactly what I think a lot of Packers fans know this Packers defense needs. You know, we talk about wanting to see the secondary flying around. Well, that seems to be the type of way that Al Harris coaches. And so if he made that happen in Chicago, who's saying he couldn't make that happen here in Green Bay?
I also believe that to be true, as well as Jim Leonard. So that came out yesterday, and this might be a hard situation. I still think Raheem Morris, if he wants it, it's his, just because of the relationship that he has with Matt. But it was hot and heavy yesterday with both Al Harris in regard to that secondary, and then Jim Leonard came back up, and this is 100% Barry Alvarez's fault. We talked about this yesterday. Leonard, though, is currently, as we know, on the staff for the Broncos, and the Packers have to wait until after Denver's AFC Championship game to talk to him. And when I saw that yesterday, Josh, I thought of you right away, going, oh, goody, more waiting.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to do great with that.
Just keep waiting. Hurry up and wait.
Jonathan Gannon, Christian Parker, a whole bunch of names on the list, but the interviews have started. I guess that's all we can ask for.
I mean, we know one that won't be there is Brian Flores. He re-signed with the Vikings. So anyone that thought, well, hey, maybe we scoop him up from the Vikings and bring him over to the land of green and gold. No, he's staying with the purple and yellow. So
Aaron Nagler said that was a pipe dream to begin with, but yep, they scooped him right back up. There was another interview yesterday. Romeo Dobbs was on Up and Adams with Kay Adams. Came out and said that he absolutely wants to be a Packer, but also understands this is a business.
I would love to be a Green Bay Packer, but I'm just aware of this business. I understand how things go.
What's important to you as a free agent? Is it being a true labeled wide receiver one? Is it, like what's important to you as you will hit the market and you'll get wined and dined by teams wanting to bring you home?
Free agency and money and all this other stuff. But when it really comes down to it, I just want to play football. And again, the situation is everything. Like, I know there's a lot of energy that goes into that. Like I said, when it comes down to it, I still got to be a ball player. I still got to go out there, make plays, be a team guy, be reliable, and just to continue to be a leader that I'm growing into.
So that interview kept going, and Kay Adams said, well, I would highly recommend you take the free meals and the wine and dine, and there's going to be a bunch of teams. Then she listed like 6 or 7 other teams, and I'm like, hey, just no, don't entice him to fall in love with Patrick Mahomes. Stop it.
What? Why? Do you think that Romeo Dobbs is going to be a Green Bay Packer next year?
No. I'm just asking not to sell him on not being a Green Bay Packer.
Yeah, I assume. I was like, yeah, go have fun. Get that bag. Get that money, bud. You're not going to be in Green Bay. Go get paid.
Yeah. It's plausible that he's clearly not going to be a Packer, but I did enjoy hearing him say that he wants to be a Green Bay Packer. I thought that was a really great sign.
I was proud of him for answering her question by saying money, because that's the true answer. So when he came out, he said, I know he said, but what it really comes down to, you didn't need to go to that point. Get the money.
Yeah.
That's what free agency is about.
Yeah,
is finding a good place to make money.
One chance to do it, really, in terms of free agency. So, all right, you're up to speed about the Packers. On to the Brewers. The big news last night, Freddy Peralta gets traded to the Mets. Yes, Tobias Myers did too, but let's be honest, the story is Freddy. Here's what it sounded like on WISN with our guy Dario Melendez last night.
We begin with the big news of the night. Brewers ace Freddy Peralta has officially been traded to the New York Mets along with Tobias Myers in exchange for 2 top 100 prospects, which we'll get to in just a second. Peralta coming off a stellar 2025 season, going 17-6 while posting a 2.70 ERA, but the 29-year-old who had spent his entire major league career with the Brewers is entering the final year of his contract. As for those 2 top 100 prospects the Brewers are receiving in exchange for Peralta, they land both Brandon Sprout and Jet Williams, the 5th and 3rd ranked prospects in the Mets organization, respectively. Sprout is a hard-throwing right-handed starting pitcher who made his major league debut last season, while Williams has yet to make it to the show, but the speedy infielder launched 17 homers and stole 43 bases in the minors in 2025.
Womp womp. First off, thanks to Dario Melendez.
That whole audio is just womp,
womp, womp. It's just the reality of the situation.
Welcome to being a fan of the Milwaukee Brewers.
Pat Murphy's. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say we are so used to this. We had one player in Willie Adames where we went, are the Brewers going to become a team that don't trade away their talent before the contract's up? Are we going to be that? And they did it one time and then went, never again. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. That's it.
We need to get things back. And so that we talked about yesterday, Josh, and Murph talked about it when he was here in Green Bay and how much it hurts. We have him talking about that later in the show. But I'm pretty proud of us, man. Like, I went back and listened to what we talked about yesterday in regard to this trade happening. Did we know it was going to happen yesterday? Sure didn't. But we knew it was coming. And the reaction last night, dude, you nailed it. He talked about the Freddy Peralta trade. It's happening. And he was also honest in saying that that's going to be a really hard day because nobody wears the M and the B as well as Freddy Peralta does. And that's actually going to be an emotional day for Pat Murphy. He has watched every single pitch that Freddy Peralta has ever thrown. That's going to be a hard day for him. Based on what Murph said last night, without breaking news of any specific information, let's just all not be surprised when this happens. And hopefully we get a big old bag of something in return.
Well, and that's the thing. I don't think anyone would be surprised when the time comes that Freddie's no longer a Milwaukee Brewer. I do think that people are going to be surprised and honestly unhappy when he's traded. I don't know what they're going to get for him, but I'm sure right off the bat, it's going to be, that's it? We got these two guys?
That's exactly right.
Those two guys. That's what we got.
Literally.
We got those two guys. Who? As soon as the news breaks last night, I see your text coming in. It's funny. I literally said, I don't think anyone's going to be surprised. It was still, all right, drop everything you're doing. Freddie got traded. Here we go.
Pretty much.
Right. But I put out on my Twitter, @OnAirJosh, I said, and all in unison, Milwaukee starts Googling feverishly Jet Williams and Brandon Sproat. Who are these guys? Because that's what we do. We don't know these prospects. We're not in on the farm system, right? We don't know any of that as fans. I guess some people might have, if you're really in the weeds, but the majority of us, we have no idea. And so our initial reactions are we're seeing what we're giving away at a major league level for a prospect, for hey, this could be something, but it hadn't been nothing yet.
Well, the good news is that Jet Williams alone completely messed up where the Brewers rank in terms of their prospects. Cooper Pratt, take a seat. Jet Williams became the third most sought-after prospect in all of the Brewers farm system. Jesus Mate being number one, Luis Pena being number two, then Jet Williams, who we just got from the Mets. Cooper Pratt, number four, and then Jefferson Cuero, who came up in conversation earlier this year because he was stuck in Venezuela with a couple other Brewers we couldn't find for a hot second, but all that shook out. Yeah, so who the heck are these guys? Jet Williams, Brandon Sproat. The good news is it sounds like Brandon can make a difference in terms of pitching pretty quickly. Second rounder, 56th overall in 2023 out of Florida, 14th overall for Jet Williams. I did see right away last night, Jet Williams was 5'6".
A short guy, short, scrappy.
Well, how tall is Caleb Durbin?
Right. What did we say yesterday? We literally talked about it yesterday, right? What did we say?
Murph came out yesterday and said he was 4'11". That's what we were talking about. Right. He's actually 5'7".
That's right.
So he's 5'7". New guy, Jet Williams, 5'6". So right as this news was breaking last night, I went to text Durbin and go, dude, new guy's 5'6". I had it all typed out. And then my gut said, don't.
Yeah, probably don't. You probably don't need it. Yeah.
I decided not to, but that would have been maybe funny, maybe not, maybe too soon. Josh, how we feeling about Freddy?
So it's difficult when you watch the good times, right? A lot of highlight packages. We played one there in what, probably one of my favorite games I've attended ever that we were at together to start the NLDS against the Cubs. And Freddy dealing on the mound that day. But Freddy also had his bad moments too. He gave up those home runs. You just don't focus on those when you're saying goodbye, right? You remember the good times. I'm very thankful that not only did Freddy help us have that magical season we had last year, but that he went off the way he did. I don't know that these teams that can afford to extend it and pay Freddy Peralta go after him as feverishly if he doesn't have the type of season specifically last year that he did. He had to put himself out there for himself and for the Brewers to even be in this position. And so that's where my brain's on at it. Like, yeah, obviously I wish he was going to still be a Brewer, but that was a pipe dream. Like it never really sat in my mind of a realistic possibility. It was always, he's going to be gone. Let's just get something for him. And this is what we got.
Tobias Myers on his way to New York as well.
Yeah.
I didn't think we needed to give up Tobias Myers.
Yeah.
And I was a little bummed because he is phenomenal in relief and also that emergency starter that we were able to tap into at least once or twice this past season. So the new rotation looks like this. Brandon Woodruff, the veteran anchor at the number 1 spot. He's our ace. Please, for the love of God, stay healthy.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Number 2, the high-octane upside arm of Jacob Mizorowski. Bud, I hope you dial it in between now and then because when you're on, you're on. And when you're off, you're off. Mm-hmm. Quinn Priester moves into the 3rd spot. Chad Patrick into the 4th spot. If we have a 5th spot, meaning do we go to a 5-man rotation or a 4? Logan Henderson seems to be in that spot, but competing would be Sproat, Brandon Sproat, the new guy.
So Sproat did pitch. He had a cup of coffee, as a few people like to say, in the majors last year. So it's not like he hasn't been brought up. It's not the same situation that Jet Williams is in, to where he's only at this point been in the minors. But I mean, it was literally a cup of coffee. It was not anything that I think that we could really judge him on, per se, to this point.
Those two dudes in the Mets organization were the 3rd and 5th prospect overall for them. We draft and develop. Oh, man, where have we heard that before?
Yeah, right.
But that's the Brewers organization. And I love the way Murph puts this. I heard him say it the other night on his tour here in Green Bay. This is what it is. And that's it. It's not for him to have an opinion on. It's for him to understand. And it's for him to go, that's why we focus on getting guys who are team-oriented and self-aware. If you're not team-oriented and you're not self-aware, you're out. That's literally what he said. So here's hoping these two new cats are team-oriented and self-aware, or they're going to have a bit of a hard time breaking in with the Milwaukee Brewers. All right, on to the Badgers. Packers, Brewers, I know. You sit here and talk about the news. You read the news. You share the news of the day with our listeners across the state of Wisconsin on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, and you check the box sometimes, right? We want to get you caught up. Packers, Brewers, Badgers, Bucks, other. And then we pause and go, damn it. Right? Because we're doing a job, but we're fans. And so we got the job. I ask John Anderson this from ESPN all the time. He hates Kansas with the power of 10,000 suns. Missouri, Kansas, no good.
Sure.
And he also is a longtime 25-year veteran Sports Center anchor. He was on the anchor desk multiple times when Kansas won the national championship.
Sure, yeah.
The light goes on. Breaking tonight, welcome to Sports Center. This is John Anderson. Kansas, now champions yet again. And I text him in the middle of that, which he loves, by the way. And I go, how do you do that? And he goes, man, if everybody could do the job, everybody would. It's just a job. And I'm like, all right, cool. I never want that job. If we're going to do this thing in sports, I want the job that brings you the news, and then I get to flip the page and go, damn it. That sucks. Freddy Peralta was good. And not to say that somebody else can't blow up a first inning, but I will not miss that.
Yeah. I'm related to that and your emotions attached to Freddy. I have questions. I have questions for you. And I know that our listeners do too. We want to know your questions, whether it be related to the Packers, related to Freddy Peralta, related to this Brewers team, or whatever questions you might have. And I have questions coming up next. Feel free to get them in now on the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and text line 414-677-1250.
Packers, Brewers, Badgers at Penn State tonight. Tip at 6 p.m., I believe. Yep, there's my notes. Badgers are favored -5.5. Come on, Bucky. Keep it going.
Yep.
Bucks, I would like you to start going. Do any kind of going. Do the going.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised by that game last night, though.
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander cooked 40 points. And the Bucks got down early, and that was it. And that's kind of how I felt going to bed last night. All right. Freddy Peralta is a Met. The Bucks are down 18 at halftime. And Rich Bisaccia is still employed by the Green Bay Packers. And for that reason, I'm out.
Yeah.
Next game versus the Nuggets on Friday for the Bucks. Disaster. Anything else that we need to cover? Packers, Brewers, Badgers, Bucks, and other. Our guy, Doug Gottlieb, and the GB men's basketball team plays tonight at Youngstown State. That tip is 5:30 Central. The Panthers are at Robert Morris tonight in the Horizon League, 6 p.m. Central tip-off time. Our two Horizon League teams staying in the fight, but do have some work to do in order to make noise in the postseason. Wisconsin, what questions do you have? Josh brought it up. I have questions is next. How you feeling about Freddy? What changes do you think we need to make with the Packers coaching staff and whatever else you have top of mind this morning? The Packers are in search of a defensive coordinator, and the Brewers trade Freddy Peralta. There you go. Nobody knows both of those topics as well as Ryan Wood of the Green Bay Press Gazette. He joins 9 to noon with John Kuhn this morning at 10 here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. The Nicolay Law fan talk and text line 414-677-1250 live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. We're inside Wisconsin sports with Trevor and Josh. We'll get over it. We'll get through it. We got it.
We got it.
Was this on purpose?
No, the bag of bumps is just hitting this morning.
Jeez.
They just know, man.
Tomorrow I'll be gone. Brutal. All right. Inside Wisconsin Sports. I'm gonna have a morning. I can already tell.
Yeah.
I'm processing live on the radio. What could go wrong? Inside Wisconsin Sports. Trevor and Josh. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. We, if we do say so ourselves, have an incredible show for you today and tomorrow. But today, Josh, 7 a.m., Lane Grindle will join the show.
Fantastic. Good timing for him, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. Weird. Totally weird.
Weird that he'd be on. You want to talk You want to talk Brewers and Freddy Peralta trade? We got some guys.
Lane Grindle at 7, and then Tim Allen, the franchise himself, joins us at 8 to break the Freddy Peralta trade and just overall hold each other. We're just going to hold each other this morning and understand that this is who the Brewers are. And there's nothing we can do about it. We can whine about it. We can cry about it. We can complain about it. And at the end of the day, we don't control the checkbook. So we got to be a fan of what we have. I am a fan of having $8 million more to play with this year.
True.
Am I wrong on that? I mean, it's not like we're going to shift $8 million to the two new cats coming in. Plus, I don't know what we owed Tobias Myers.
Yeah.
So you'd like to, and somewhere, all these dudes that are in arbitration going, hey,
there's some money.
Turns out you got a buck or two left.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd like to know where Mark puts that money too.
Well, William Contreras. Let's start there.
Yeah, fair.
Get him through arbitration and don't piss him off. All right. We have questions.
When things just don't add up, Trevor and Josh ask the hard questions or just point out how messed up stuff is.
I only have one question. Can you fly this plane and land it?
Surely you can't be serious.
Do you view this season as a failure?
You asked me the same question last year.
What's the most important question the Badgers have to answer Saturday?
This is a great question. Oh my God, this is a great question.
It's time for I Have Questions on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
The Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text Line, 414-677-1250. Time to answer your questions. Shoot us a text. Give us a call. If we don't know the answer, we will lie. Josh, What's your question?
We're going to guess. All right, based on you being, in your feels this morning about Freddy Peralta, which, as I love it. Absolutely love it. Yeah, that's being a fan. I want to know, where does this trade rank for you in terms of Brewers trades where we traded a player away, where we knew, this guy's not going to stick. We're not going to re-sign him. We got to move on.
You said it earlier that we didn't get anything for Willy Adames, and I'm glad we learned our lesson about that. There's a difference when this is a business and we're playing with the type of money that we have or don't have to get something for these trades. I don't recall the other two top pitchers in the Brewers organizations when they left, Giovanni Gallardo and Ben Sheets. Did we get anything for those guys when they left? Did we trade either of those guys away? We'll have to look that up. I'm just grateful that we got something. We all knew it was going to happen. We all knew the trade deadline was really looming. And at the end of the day, we got stuff in return. So where does it rank in terms of the other trades that the Brewers have made in terms of pitchers or anybody else? Well, I don't know, because I can't look back and go, God, who did we get for Josh Hader when we traded him at the worst timing ever?
Right.
I digress.
So, yes, Gallardo was traded to the Rangers. We got Corey Knebel from that. He was the big name.
Yeah, that was good. Back. He was closer for a while.
Yep.
What about Ben Sheets?
Yeah, I'll tell you I'm Ben Sheets here in a second.
What about you? Where does this trade rank for you?
So I think that it's up there, but the Josh Hader one to me is the one that will always stick out. And I think it's not because we didn't get it didn't pan out in the Brewers' favor, but just the timing, right? The timing of, hey, this team's making a push. Maybe, and this was pre-Dodgers buying everything. And so you thought, hey, maybe this could be it. And then it just seemed like it crumbled the clubhouse. And you hated to see that. Not saying that, the fact that Freddie's not going to be there anymore isn't going to impact the clubhouse for the Milwaukee Brewers. But the fact that it's not mid-season absolutely has to make a difference. And so for that reason, it's not as big. As far as the player not finishing, I mean, that was the Prince. Like, Prince Fielder not being a Brewer anymore is probably the one that I'll always remember hurting the most when it was his time was up and I knew he wasn't going to be a Brewer anymore.
The 920 on the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line, 414-677-1250. This is a great trade. Freddy has a lot of innings on him and will be a problem this year for the Mets. Jet is a plug-and-play guy this year, mentioning Jet Williams. We're going to find out because he doesn't have any Major League Baseball experience, at least not anything to hang your hat on. What shortstop, outfield, second base? Where is he going to be plugged in?
Well, I don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is this a sign for Joey Ortiz?
I would, if I'm Joey Ortiz, I'm paying attention to this more than I feel like the rest of the team.
Yeah.
But also that shouldn't be necessarily surprising. And I don't think he's going to start. So I still think that if I'm Joey Ortiz, I still know I'd get another shot to prove, right? Didn't you say the other day that Joey Ortiz said to expect a lot more hits?
Yeah,
out of him?
He was on the FaceTime with Murph just out of the sauna the other day during Murphy's stop here in Green Bay. And he literally said, you can expect more hits out of me this year. That starts in spring training. And you know who I'm guessing is going to get some rotation at shortstop in spring training? Jet Williams. And if Jet's raking and Joey's not, it's going to be an interesting spring to watch that position. You imagine the left side of our infield? At 5'7", Caleb Durbin.
Yeah.
At 5'6", Murph said the other night to Caleb on the FaceTime, I told these guys that you're 4'11", and I'm not worried about a ball going through your legs because it'll just hit you in the cup.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I want to follow up on this to make sure I don't forget it. Ben Sheets did not get traded. In 2008, he had to have Tommy John surgery. He didn't pitch at all in 2009, and so he was a free agent. Obviously, Prince Fielder, also a free agent. We didn't get anything for Prince either. We kept him until we couldn't. So,
are we worried about Freddy's clubhouse leadership, specifically when it comes to Jackson Chourio? He and William Contreras took Jackson under their wing, and that is a big deal for these types of players who need guys that understand their life, their upbringing, their language, their all of those things to be mentors. And Jackson Chourio just lost one of his mentors.
That's true. However, it's not like this team doesn't have any veteran leadership, right? You're going to lean on Yelich to do that. You're going to lean on Woodruff to do that. I understand
but my
that
point was more about the connection in terms of culture.
Correct.
That matters.
Correct. There is a barrier there. I understand. But it's while that is something they'll have to get over, it's not like this is a completely new team of young guns and there's no veteran leadership.
414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line. Lots of feedback coming in on this Freddy Peralta trade. Here's one I do not understand from the 920.
Okay.
Mark puts his money in moving more sand from a public beach for his California building projects. Is it sports that grinds our gears in how we as fans judge the owners of the sports teams and how they do business? Because this doesn't happen in any other facet of life. We don't look at Quick Trip and go, geez, I wish the Zietlow family would get it together with the hot bar. I hate this sandwich. What are they doing?
Yeah, but I can tell you, I can answer. This is an easy one. Thank you for asking this question. That's an easy one for me to answer. It's because the excuse has been used that we can't have nice things because there's not enough money.
That's not an excuse. That's a fact. That's just the way it is.
But I'm saying if you started going up to Quick Trips and there's garbage all over the ground when you're trying to pump gas and they say, sorry, we just don't have the money to afford to hire people. And so you're going to have to just step around that garbage. And then they go and they build a humongous new facility and it's a multi-million-dollar beautiful thing. And you're going, but you couldn't hire a guy to pick up the garbage? That's when you make the comparison. So the comparison isn't about the fact that we don't understand that Mark Antanasio doesn't have as much money as some of these other owners. It's if you're using that excuse and then we see you spend the money elsewhere, that's when it becomes irritating.
That's a totally separate business, and that's what I don't understand. Your example of Quick Trip is all within the Quick Trip business, which is, by the way, not true. Love Quick Trip.
Yeah, Quick Trip.
We're just making a comparison of something that we're connected to here in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Mark Antanasio has other businesses. It's just dumbfounding to me that we would compare how a man operates one of his businesses and be angry that he operates it that way because he spends more time, effort, and potential money on a different business. As a fan, because I'm not telling people how to fan, I just worry about the things that I can control. And that's buying a new hoodie and getting rid of a quarter zip.
I was going to say, that's not much in terms of anything happening with the sports team.
Right. So for me as a sports fan of the Milwaukee Brewers, does it suck when we have to trade away guys like Freddy Peralta because we know we're not going to be able to play the game? Yes. And watching that young team last year, although running into a buzzsaw that were the Dodgers in the postseason in the NLCS, was the greatest summer of my life. And so I do not have this angst towards Mark Antanasio to go, wow, would have been nice to win a World Series. Yeah, of course. And
sure,
I don't have any opinion on how you run your profit and loss sheet. That is so above my pay grade. I can't even tickle it.
Well, I sure do. I would love to tell Mark all the things he's doing wrong with his money as a not financial advisor. However, I do have to say that, and I know that we're celebrating Freddy today and you're in your feels about him, but if I was going to ask Santa Antanasio to spend, to give me a gift one way or another of spending money, going all in on a player that's on this team currently, I don't think it would have been Freddy. And so if I only get one, and maybe that's a great question. Okay, the Brewers decided they're not going to pay whatever Freddy's going to make on the open market, so they traded him. Who would be the player you'd want the Brewers to throw all that money at instead? I don't think that I would have chosen Freddy. I don't.
Nope. I certainly think we would choose Jackson Churio. How long has he got left on his deal? 7, 8 years, something like that?
Yeah, he's got a ton. I'm saying I think Contreras.
It's not huge money, though. And when Jackson Churio signed his deal, I said literally out loud, man, he's going to look like crap in Yankee pinstripes or Dodger blue someday because he's that amazing of a talent. So if we were going to, at some point, invest in the future of this team, when it's time for Jackson Churio's contract to be renegotiated a year or two in advance of it being up, maybe that's the guy that we dump a bunch of money into if we were to have it.
I mean, 2032, 2033 are the option years for Churio. I'm looking at Contreras. That would be the guy that I would say I want. I want to stick around. I like his grit. I like how he fights, and he's a damn good ball player. And so William Contreras is the guy, to me, more than Freddy Peralta, that I would say, if I only get one, give me Contreras. Obviously, I don't think that's going to happen with Wild Bill either, but that mindset does help me process losing Freddy.
All right, so here are two conflicting opinions in the Nicolay Law fan talking text line, 414-677-1250. Jason in the 920 says, I get trading Freddy and getting something for the future, but we have a team now, and we just keep trading away. Okay, so that hurts. I'm with you, Jay. Here's Jason in Sheboygan on the other side. This is a blockbuster trade. Freddy was well-liked and a horsepower because he never got hurt. But he also was never able to go more than 5 innings, and we have our new shortstop, which another listener talks about. Would you rather have a 5'8" or 5'7" shortstop or a 6'8" gangly shortstop? I take that personally, and you're right. I would rather have a 5'7" shortstop.
Yeah, and yet the correct answer is a 5'7" shortstop.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. There's they're coming in hot and heavy here. I had two that I was going to read, and they're gone. They immediately flew off. So we appreciate everyone up and Adam with us this morning on the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line.
Jason in the 920 pipes back, we need starting pitching, period. To which I would say we got a starting pitcher in return. And so maybe that's the hard part about this, right? The unknowns, even though if we were to pull up the new Brewers starting rotation, we know these guys pretty well. And I'd like to think that we believe in them. Woodruff, Mizorowski, Quinn Priester, who was absolutely lights out. He just got the yips at his Lambeau Field. Chad Patrick, Logan Henderson. These are all guys that pitched in the majors for the Brewers last year. And now we have Brandon Sproat, who is a starting pitcher in Major League Baseball. Has the potential, will absolutely be a guy that we can rely on. That's why we trade for guys like that. When we give up a starting pitcher in who we did with Freddy, we go get a starting pitcher in return. For me, Freddy Peralta was the Brewers organization, the ace, the recognizable figure. Everybody, when you said Freddy Peralta, you knew. But you also did not know what you were going to get. Fastball Freddy was his nickname, but first inning Freddy was one I said a lot.
Yeah.
And
true.
You and I, Josh, both felt that way at game one, along with Jason from the 920, when Freddy blew up in the top of the first in the first game of the NLDS.
I mean, first pitch.
He settled down. He was good to go, and he got a standing ovation as he was walking towards the dugout. But that is a tough thing to swallow when you see it over and over and over again. And to this texter's point, he never got injured of any length of time. So we'll see if the magic 8-ball / crystal ball works in the Brewers organization.
Yeah, there's a lot of good texts. We want to make sure that we get them all in here, and I'm interested too to get people's opinions, just first thoughts on these new guys. You know, if you were like me and you went on the Google machine and you looked at them, obviously we don't know. It's kind of like when the Packers, we put our draft grades out on who the Packers drafted, and we go, oh, I can't believe they drafted this guy. We have no idea. We won't know for a couple years. That might not be the distance, the length that we wait with these two prospects for the Brewers, but I want to know what people are thinking on this trade and who we got in return as well.
We'll talk about that and review a little Freddy from the past with the most electrifying sound of the day and get to your text on the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line, 414-677-1250. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. We're inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Statewide impact and statewide input on the Freddy Peralta and Tobias Myers trade that happened late last night. Late for us, anyway. What time was it? 8:30?
Yeah, it's late enough. Come on.
Yeah. Something broke where it said the Mets are interested in Freddy Peralta. And I was show prepping, had my laptop on my lap. That's why they call it a laptop.
There you go.
I might be today days old.
No way. Come on. Are you serious?
I might. That caught me more off guard than I'm willing to admit. All right, time for the most electrifying sound of the day.
It's time for
The most electrifying
sound of the day.
The most electrifying
On Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Brought to you by Best Electric. Learn more at bestelect.com. Don't stress. Connect with the best.
Breaking ball is lifted in the air to deep center field. Hill racing back over towards the track. He looks up, and that's over the fence and gone. Jet Williams hammers a home run to center field.
And the curveball in there, strike three call. Frito goes down looking. Scroach strikes out 3 in a row after a leadoff walk.
And that's Trey Wilson of the Richmond Flying Squirrels and Gary Cohen of SNY in New York providing the calls for the 2 new members of the Brewers organization, which is our most electrifying sound of the day, brought to you by our friends at Best Electric. Remember, no job is too big or too small for Best Electric. Don't stress. Connect with the best. Call them today or visit bestelect.com.
That's the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line, 414-677-1250. Josh, we got a few minutes left before the top of the hour.
Yeah.
And our guy, Lane Grindle, joins us to break down this trade. This is an interesting one. Mark and Eagle said, I loved Freddy, so don't take this wrong. I will not miss our ace throwing 100 pitches through 4 innings. Aces should be able to throw the occasional complete game. And that just isn't Freddy. Jet looks fun. Not super excited about the undersized guy, though. And the roster is full of the same type of players. With that being said, I choose to trust Matt Arnold. In the break, Josh, I texted a buddy who said, preach, my guy Giff. We were talking about the money and the whole thing with Peralta. I said to him, I will not miss having clenched butt cheeks for a solid 30 pitches when Freddy hits the mound. I know. It is.
I know. And that's what I was saying. Like, if you go back 2 years and you look at Freddy, do you feel the same way about Freddy as you did based on last season? That's why I'm saying you're remembering the good times, which you should do because he was going to be gone anyway. But more than anything, I'm really just happy that he put on that performance, not only to help us have that magical season, but to give us the opportunity to get these guys. He proved to a team like the Mets, I'm worth spending the money on. I'm worth taking the chance. There were plenty of opportunities throughout his tenure for Fastball Freddy that were frustrating games to watch as a Brewers fan. He was not, in my mind, he wasn't Corbin Burns. You know, a lot of people making the comparison between when the Brewers had to get rid of Corbin Burns. I don't think that that's the same at all. I think Burns was a much better pitcher than Freddy was.
The 262 sums it up best for this hour. We'll definitely miss Fastball Freddy for sure. But we knew this was coming. Last couple of years, friends and I started calling him full count Freddy. Understand and accept that this is how things will be for the Brewers. And it still always makes me wish the MLB was more like the NFL with a salary cap. Well, enjoy baseball this summer because that wish is all of our wishes. And if it's going to happen, we're going to be without baseball for a hot second.
Yeah, it's not going to be clean. It's going to get ugly if that happens.
Yeah, it's super busted. And how we fix it when all of these deals still exist and the Brewers are what they are without a TV deal as we sit here right now. Yeah, speaking of things above our pay grade. Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, you are listening to Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Lane Grindle, Milwaukee Brewers, up next. eternal optimist. So please, God, don't tell me that you're an eternal pessimist.
I like to say I'm a realist.
Oh, it's great. We're going to get along great. This is going to be great.
This is Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
Swinging and a miss, he struck him out. German breaking ball, 7th strikeout for Freddy Peralta, who is dealing this afternoon. Nothing new for Peralta, especially at American Family Field in Milwaukee. It's a 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss and a curveball. He struck him out. 8th strikeout for Freddy Peralta. Corners 0 for 2. He's grounded out and struck out. The pitch. Struck him out swinging. Threw a fastball by him at 96, and he strikes out 3 in the inning. 9 Ks in the game for Freddy Peralta through 5 sparkling innings in game 1.
That'll be it for Freddy Peralta. But what a start it was. Fans rise to their feet in Milwaukee. The Brewers ace getting them into the 6th. And he legs it to a rousing ovation.
Indeed, that will be it from Freddy Peralta. We heard Jeff Levering there from the Milwaukee Brewers radio network. The TV call as Freddy left the mound on AmFam Field back in game 1 of the NLDS. What's up, Wisconsin? Welcome inside Wisconsin Sports. Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht.
Hi.
Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. A quick programming note. We absolutely love chatting with guests on this show. We try to bring you people that are relative to the conversation in regard to anything that's going on in sports, and we always tie it back to Wisconsin. Tomorrow, 8 a.m., Joe Thomas, NFL Hall of Famer and Wisconsin Badger at heart, will join us to talk about what Luke Fickell had to say yesterday in a presser in regard to how the Badgers did in free agency. That's what it's called now, by the way. I'm just going to call it free agency.
Yeah.
And then Bonnie Blair, the most decorated United States women winter Olympian ever. The Olympics, the Winter Olympics, start 2 weeks from tomorrow, so it's time to catch up with a Wisconsin hero. We've claimed her years ago. She grew up in Wisconsin, born in Illinois, but we claimed her. I can't wait to chat with Bonnie Blair tomorrow at 8:25. And I can't wait to chat now on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Lane Grindle, it's Joe Thomas, Bonnie Blair, Lane Grindle. I mean, that is a hell of What's up, man?
One of these
breaking all this down with us.
One of these things is not like the other. When you're talking about Joe Thomas, Bonnie Blair, and Lane Grindle, a high school track athlete from Nishna Valley, Iowa. Great to be with you guys. Kind of a wild night last night, obviously. I have a feeling you're going to ask me about it, but
something happen?
Still processing it all. I mean, there's just so many levels to this when you lose a cornerstone guy. And Freddy was every bit that with this group, whether it be in the clubhouse, whether it be on the mound. I mean, he's been such a big part of this run of Brewers baseball. And then you lose a guy that's just really a joy to be around too. So you're processing that, but you also understand the business of the game. And this is the game the Brewers have played for quite a while. And I do think on the surface, it looks like they got 2 pieces that are going to help them right away that seem like they have good upside. So, still learning a little bit about both the prospects, but, this was a move that I don't think shocked anybody. I think we knew this was trending in this direction, especially if you were reading the tea leaves over the last week. It felt like a lot of momentum was starting to pick up on this front.
Yeah. I mean, Murph on his statewide tour was real honest with everybody that we all knew this was coming. And so when it dropped last night, that was their initial like, oh, good, Freddie. Yeah. And then it was like, well, I mean, we all knew that this was the deal. Yeah. And who we got in return is something that we need to process. But as Brewers fans, the hardest thing to process this morning, Lane, is something completely out of all of our controls in regards to how the Brewers spend money. So help us process why we had to give up a guy that was only making $8 million and making sure we got something in return for him, knowing next year he was out of our budget.
Yeah, it's way more about that second part, Trevor, than it is the first part. It was not that much about the 8 million. The 8 million, if that came into play, it was because that made him so enticing to other clubs because that's a pretty affordable contract for a guy that has made 30 starts each of the last 3 years, finished fifth in the Cy Young last year. And really, when Brandon Woodruff went down with the injury at the end of the 23 season, Freddie stepped forward and said, I'll take the ball on opening day. I'll be your number one. And he became a number one. So it's just hard to find a guy at that price point, even if it is just for 1 year. So it made him very attractive to other teams, and that's why there was a lot of attention paid to him in terms of a deal getting done. Yeah, look, the Brewers have to operate on the margins. They have to operate in a different way, obviously, than the Dodgers and a lot of the other teams towards the top of the league in terms of market size and overall revenues. So the Brewers are going to succeed, and they've done a great job of this at acquiring talent and developing that talent. So whether that's through the international market, whether that's through the draft, whether that's through trades like this and being shrewd and getting out in front of things, that's the business the Brewers have to be in, and that's the game they've played, and they've played it, by the way, better than anybody else in baseball has. Do you swing and miss sometimes? Sure. You're always going to do that because there are no guaranteed sure things in this game. But the Brewers have been better than everybody else at figuring this part out. That's how you sustain success. Now, could they try to say, hey, we're going to push everything in for 1 year and see what happens? They could. They could probably try to do that, but then that would really alter what they could do subsequent years after that. They would be playing catch up after that, probably for a while on a lot of different fronts, whether it's from just an overall talent standpoint, whether it's from how they want to spend that money moving forward. So it's a slippery slope. It's a tough situation, but this is the game the Brewers have to play. It's the one they play pretty well. And there's a reason why Matt Arnold's the two-time executive of the year and Pat Murphy's the two-time manager of the year. They know what they're doing.
Nailed it.
We're talking to Lane Grindle here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Lane, I felt like people that have been Brewers fans for a long, long time are used to this. Willie Adames was kind of the outlier of not getting something before a player's contract was up. And yet this one with Freddie still felt a little different to me. And you mentioned it there a little bit of because we were expecting it, not that we didn't the other ones, but what was it about this with Freddie that we didn't as fans necessarily even give ourselves the chance to say, well, maybe they let it ride. Maybe they do. Maybe they keep Freddie and just give us that shot after winning 97 games and finishing as the best team in all of baseball. Why did it feel like this was always going to be the end result with the Brewers and Freddie?
I can only speak for me, but for me, I felt like this deal would probably happen, mainly because I thought that somebody would give the Brewers what they were looking for eventually for Freddy Peralta. And the other part of it is, you mentioned Willie Adames. The difference is position player versus pitcher. I think it's always a little bit more risk to bring a pitcher into their final year of their deal. And risk the fact that you might not get anything back for them because they are more prone to a season ending or a long-term type of injury than a position player would be. So those were the couple of things that I thought factored into this. Now, the thing about this that makes this hurt so much is just that Freddie, the guy, right? Like everybody loved being around Freddie. He's a big part of the leadership within the club. I mean, you're losing such a great human in this deal, and that is always a little bit tricky because what's happened within the walls of the Brewers clubhouse has been as big of a deal as what's happened on the dirt. And I think that you always worry a little bit about that. Now, what they've done an outstanding job. This will be my 11th year. And in my 10 years, I can count on one hand how many guys that you were kind of like, like just in terms of personality that you'd want to go spend time with or be around or talk to, or felt like they wouldn't give you the time if you asked for it. They've done an outstanding job of finding great humans and putting them in that clubhouse. Think how little you ever hear of a Brewer in the headlines for the wrong reasons. I mean, it just doesn't happen. So they've done an awesome job, whatever their metric is and how they analyze guys, and they dig in behind the scenes on the human being they're acquiring. They've done a really good job of that. So even though you lose a great one in Freddie, this organization has a ton of great guys that can pick up the slack in that clubhouse and continue to be great leaders. But I think we knew this. We've been through this now. I mean, this is what happens when you have really good baseball teams with really good talent, and you get them through arbitration, and you get to this point. The Brewers have developed a lot of really good players, whether it's Corbin Burns, whether it's Devin Williams, now Freddy Peralta. So we've been through this. This is what happens. Woodruff's been a different situation because of the injuries, frankly. But I think Brewers fans kind of understand the game, and they also appreciate that, like, this stinks and it hurts a little bit, but this is what you have to do to continue to be a 96, 97 win team consistently year over year.
So Murph just got done with his statewide tour, and he talked a lot about that, Lane, where he says he has two things every player needs to have or you're out. One is to be a team guy, and the other is to be self-aware.
Yeah.
Hopefully these two new dudes are team guys and self-aware, because they're going to find out in a real hurry that that's the way the Brewer standard is.
Yeah, that's the thing. You come into a place where you don't have a choice to be anything other than that. If you're on your own program, good luck. It's not going to work. You're going to feel like you're on an island because this group's very connected. I was with Chad Patrick and Caleb Durbin yesterday for an event, and that was one of the things we talked about. And those two guys are just 1 year into being in this clubhouse, and they knew right away when they walked into it, like, okay, there's a standard here. There's an expectation. It's not just how many home runs I hit or how many strikeouts I get. It's how I treat my teammates, how we lift each other up. Like, they talked about that at length at the event that we were at together. There's a standard for that. And Murph does a great job of setting that tone early on in camp every year, making sure everybody understands this is a new team. This is a new recipe. It's not last year's team, but here are the things we're going to do to make sure we're successful again. And that's such a big part of it. It really is. And I think the Brewers do that so well. And, I think it's not always like the sexy thing in baseball to talk about that, because we are so into numbers and analytics and we can measure all these things. And you can't measure that. Like, you can't quantify what that's worth. But if you're around it daily, like we are, and you see it, you just get it. And I think that those are some of the things that get lost in the game, frankly, today. And the Brewers have never allowed that to be lost. And I think it's, we keep talking about what's the secret sauce. I don't know that there is a secret sauce, but there are certain, kind of bullet points that have led to this success. And that's a huge, huge part of it. And it should never be overlooked.
Yeah, that's a great point. All right, let's get back to the numbers and analytics.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. But I did want to ask you, the bites of the apple, that phrase has become used all the time with this Brewers team. And as you said, making sure that the team stays competitive. And we focus a lot on our farm system for that reason. And you look at, Jesus Mate, Luis Pena, Cooper Pratt, now Jet Williams, Brandon Sproat. You throw these guys in there, and you also look at the fact that you just had a team that won 97 games. For the fans that have been saying, we're close, we make that push, and then you see these guys in the farm system, how far off are we from being able to have the team, the players that are playing now and those guys that are in the farm system kind of meshing together into one super team for the Brewers?
That's a good question. You can't predict what the guys that are in the minors right now are going to be. You can try to, you can project, but nothing's a given until they're up here and they're doing it. But I think you're looking at some of these guys. Well, you mentioned Made, you mentioned Luis Pena. I mean, you're probably looking at 27. I mean, there's maybe a chance that Made could knock on the door by the end of this year. That would be really pushing it, though. I think you're probably more realistically looking at 27 with some of those guys. But I mean, that list is a big list when you start looking at the Brewers prospects now. And they just added 2 more guys that one's definitely going to be in the top 100 in MLB Pipeline's rankings when they come out here in a couple of weeks. And the other one in Sproat, I think very well could be. This is a guy with a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. He's got a good changeup, good pedigree. He's already been in the big leagues. So, I mean, he's somebody that is going to impact the 2026 club. Jet Williams would be an interesting one. I mean, he's the typical Brewer, man. He's 5'7". He runs really well. He can play multiple positions, and he's got a little power. I mean, tell me where you've heard that before. The Brewers have a lot of guys that are very, very similar to that. I mean, so we'll see where Jet Williams projects. I think you could see him up this year for sure. Now he's only got I think he's only got 40 games in AAA so far in his career. So he may not to break with the club. That might be an uphill battle. I don't know internally what the organization thinks, but another guy that probably has a pretty good chance to impact the 2026 club. But you think about Andrew Fisher, he's the number 1 third base prospect right now in baseball. So I think it's reasonable to think he could be in the top 100 when that comes out. So the Brewers could have anywhere from 6 to maybe 8 top 100 prospects. That would be the most in the game. I feel pretty confident saying that would probably be the most in the game if they had that, coupled with a really good big league club that has a good blend of veterans and youth, but there's a lot of youth on the big league club too. So the future looks great. It's not always going to be 97 wins and 14 game winning streaks. Those things, you appreciate them when they're here, and you understand that those things are not always normal. But I think in terms of winning 90 plus, competing in the division, the Brewers are here for a long time, and this move helps solidify that much more.
Milwaukee Brewers radio play-by-play man Lane Grindle joining us on Inside Wisconsin Sports. Lane, one more before we let you go. As always, thank you for your time. You're very kind to Josh and I. I looked at the weather. When do you leave for Arizona, and can I come?
February 19th. I was going to go ice fishing this weekend. It's too cold to even do that. I'm no, I'm not doing that. February 19th, not that I'm counting. Look, my son and I both are we got to get out of this weather. And so he's going to come down for a little bit. My family will come down for kind of in shifts in Arizona because everybody's so busy. But it's time to get into the sunshine and get baseball going. I can't wait.
Tomorrow's nuts. Exploding trees and stupidity.
Guys, I'm just going to stay in bed tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well,
and
if I could do a show from bed, I would. Lane Grindle, Milwaukee Brewers Radio. We appreciate you, man. We'll see you again soon. We can't wait to talk to you from Arizona.
Thanks, guys. Go Brewers.
Go
Thanks,
Brewers. Lane. The Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline powered by Gruber Law. One call. That's all. Take me to Arizona.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad. That wouldn't be bad. I liked a lot of the stuff that Lane said there. It was exactly what I think a lot of fans needed to hear today. And as you're processing what can be and what was all at the same time, and still be very, very excited for Brewers baseball to be here before we know it.
When we come back, I'm wondering if we can take a peek behind the cheddar curtain. Unreal came out with their second season. Unreal on Netflix is the behind-the-scenes look at the WWE. And I love peeking behind the curtain in regards to sports. I love Hard Knocks. I'm wondering if we could choose which team here in Wisconsin do we want to peek behind the curtain on? Is it the Brewers, just to be more frustrated by how they handle their financials? Is it the Packers, who I think at all costs will avoid Hard Knocks because that's just not how they roll? Is it Badgers football or Badgers basketball? Ooh. UWGB did one of these documentaries, Josh. It's called 362. It was out on Netflix for a while. I think you can find it on the Roku app. It was phenomenally done. It was when Sonny was here, and they were trying to build back a program that was second or third to last in the entire country in Division I basketball. I absolutely love that stuff. So, Wisconsin, which team would you choose if we were going to go behind the cheddar curtain like they did with the WWE and Unreal on Netflix? When we come back, let's get that opinion from you on the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line, 677-1250. Our thanks to Lane Grindle for joining us this morning from the Brewers and helping us process the Freddy Peralta news. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
All these stories you hear of, legendary bar fights of guys like Haku ripping people's eyeballs out. Show me how fake this is now, brother. That's how we were taught to defend the business, and we caught the ass kickings if we didn't defend the business. So that's where I grew up. So to now be in a situation where it's so open to where it's not just, this is how the magic is done, but we're going to show you the wires, and we're going to show you the crew that inserts the wires, and we're going to show you the writing team meeting in which we discuss the wires to do the magic trick. Whew, that's an adjustment for me.
That's Paul Heyman, courtesy of WWE Unreal. Season 2 out now on Netflix. That got Josh and I thinking here on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh about if we were to go behind the scenes of our favorite Wisconsin sports team, which one would it be? That's what Unreal is, and that's what Paul Heyman was talking about there. How we, as fans of wrestling, maybe it's not your jam, totally understand, but nonetheless, that is a view that we only get from the seats, if you will. We never get to look behind the curtain. At least for years we didn't.
And if you're going, I don't watch wrestling, Hard Knocks. Take out Unreal, put in Hard Knocks. These have become more and more popular of, we need to create more content around something that people love. Let's go behind the scenes. Let's put more cameras in more people's faces. Some people really like it, like Trevor. I'm in between. Some people absolutely hate it. And they go, I don't want to see that. Stop ruining the magic.
Well, that's an interesting take, Josh. So we want yours, and I want to come back to that. 414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text Line. We talk it every day. Packers, Brewers, Badgers, Bucks. This show is 100% dedicated to the people, the stories, and the patriotism of Wisconsin. And so if we were going to go peek behind the curtain of our favorite sports team, which one would it be? I want your opinion, but you just said something there that I'm really curious to know where you stand on. You said, I don't want to learn the magic.
Yeah, don't ruin the magic. Yeah.
If you could peek behind the curtain at Disney, would you?
I will tell you that I've learned things about how things are done in specific ways at Disney. And I hate it. Absolutely hate it. It's just like when tell me the last time you learned how someone did a magic trick and didn't part of you go, oh, okay. And it ruins it. Now, anytime you see it, you don't feel that same way. Right? That's the beauty of some of this, is that you get to live in a world of bliss and being able to ignore the wires, as Paul Heyman said, and ignore the intricacies that allow us as fans to enjoy the product for what it's supposed to be, whether you're at Disney World or you're watching WWE or you're enjoying a Packers game. There are things that happen behind the scenes, and I feel like the more I know, I understand knowledge is power, but there's balance. There needs to be balance.
414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text Line. I was working in a mall when I was younger, 25 years ago. And on my way to the food court every day, because that was healthy, I stopped by this magic kiosk. These sons of bees did these magic tricks to me every day. And I'll be damned if I don't know some pretty awesome card tricks. Oh, buddy. Real good at them.
Look at you.
Real good at them. Well, I was pissed. I was like, all right, I need to go behind the curtain on this. Now, 3 DVDs later and no life, I know them. I've got them pretty down.
Yeah, dedicate some time.
Used to bust them out at like 1 in the morning in the bars when I was in my early 20s. Oh, fun. Real fun. Andy in Brookfield. Right now, I'd love to see behind the scenes of the Milwaukee Bucks from both the players, the front office, Giannis's perspective. What is going on with him and the rest of it? Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, we look at this Bucks and go, man, we're missing something. And Hard Knocks doesn't show us everything, but it does show us a lot. And Unreal for the WWE shows us a lot.
Yeah. And keep in mind, too, that like all this still gets reviewed. So there are still things that they're still putting together a product. They're still choosing what gets aired and what doesn't. It's not fully everything, right? There's still some things, but it's way more that's shared. Would that be what would be yours, Trevor? What would be the team that you'd want to see more than the rest.
Mine's the Packers. I would get in line to be the first one through the doors of a screening of any of the teams to go behind the scenes. And I mentioned that Green Bay basketball did one of these. It's called 362. It actually won an Emmy. It's really, really, really good. Look it up if you can find it. So I've been a part of one of these things behind the scenes. Granted, it was at the Division I basketball level, but my voice is in there. I was part of the production meeting, so I know what kind of goes into this. I would love to go behind the cheddar curtain at the Green Bay Packers. I want to see the facility. I've walked through the doors before this latest edition with the all-new football offices and stuff. I was buddies with Breno Giacomini when he was here, number 68, before he got signed to go and play in Seattle. And I helped him clean out his locker. We happened to be with him watching a game, ironically, when the signing happened. So we jumped in his truck and we went to Lambeau, and I got to walk through the doors that the players walk through. Everybody should see that.
Sure.
It's amazing. Here in the media, we get press passes and we get to go in the locker rooms and talk to the guys. And I've never, from 16-year-old on, taken that for granted. We get to see some things that not many people get to see. And even that isn't really behind the cheddar curtain. I want to know what's behind doors number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 100.
Yeah.
And for the Packers, that would be pretty epic. What about you?
Yeah, for me, it's 100% the Packers, too. And there are multiple reasons. I think the first is if I look at the Brewers or some of these other teams, I feel like I know the answers on a lot of things, you know, like, and I think the ones that I don't know, I don't want to know. I think I would be even more furious if I saw a video of Mark Antanasio saying something like, nah, I'm not willing to spend another $200,000 for that guy. Like that might, I don't want to hear that. Sure. You know, don't make that a reality, that thought that people debate on those type of things. And then the second reason why I'd go with the Packers is I feel like there's so much more mystery with Green Bay and 1265 and the Packers organization. So many things are just, well, that's the Packer way. Well, that's just the way things have always, like, there's so many cliche excuses that if those barriers could be broken and you could go in and see exactly what happens behind the facade of those cliches, that would be really interesting to me.
Well, we don't have an owner in Green Bay either. I mean, look at the owners that have gotten in front of microphones the last week. Buffalo's owner, did you see that yesterday when he came out and whoopsies?
God. And now everyone is going, okay, so Buffalo's terrible. Got it. It immediately changed the perspective for a lot of general fans.
I know the Packers are worried about that, of changing the fans' perspective. They have fought tooth and nail to keep Hard Knocks as far away from Green Bay as we possibly can. And I get it. I totally get it.
Protect the G.
Well, if you share the secret sauce, any level of it whatsoever, the other team can use that. Watching Saquon Barkley on Hard Knocks go from the Eagles to the Giants was fascinating. And if that happened to the Packers, I would be livid because we got to see the behind the scenes. How do we drop the ball on that one, right?
Right. Just think about, remember when we played this, J.J. Watt. Remember when J.J. Watt said that he wanted to get that offer from the Packers? And just think about what our reactions were as fans to J.J. Watt saying that. The Packers didn't even respond to that news. They weren't even asked. Imagine if there was video of that whole thing. Like, it would blow up. It would make people get so emotional one way or another, reactive. I don't know that that's good. I to a certain extent, I just don't know that that's good for a fan base to their team.
Jason in Wind Lake. Josh goes to Disney to see Minnie Mouse, not to see the 58-year-old dude take the mask off and have a smoke break.
I don't know what you're talking about, Jason. What does that even mean?
Masks?
Yeah. I've never seen Minnie wear a mask. That's weird.
The 920 Hard Knocks offseason. Packers need it. That's a plausible idea. Instead of it being training camp, could it be an offseason or even mid-season Hard Knocks? Does it have to be the development of the team? I think that's what worries the Packers the most.
I'm with all of this. And I think to me, it's the same thing with WWE Unreal. I don't think that I've seen any clips that have made me go, okay, I appreciate that person more. Like, it's all, it's that guy's fault. Or
you haven't had that reaction that you appreciate people more knowing their story?
No, so much of it that I've seen from the clips that I've seen on social and the few episodes I've watched, make me go, oh, so that happened because of this guy, or oh, well, the original idea would have been so much better. Why didn't they go with that? To where now, if I'm seeing that with my sports teams, it's just going to put me in a place of anger and being more frustrated. I'm okay with that not existing.
Did you watch the first season of Unreal?
I did not watch the entire thing. No.
So you haven't probably watched any of the new season.
Correct.
Then.
Correct.
See, there are so from a wrestling perspective, again, this is my youngest son's fault, yet I'm grateful for it. We bond over stuff that I have little interest in because he has little interest in sports.
Sure.
And the WWE has been one of them. So he and I took a break from life a few days ago and sat down and watched the first episode of the new season of Unreal. And I hate Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
But now I don't.
Right, because you understand he's a character that he's playing, and beyond that character, he's a normal human being. But my point to that is that it's fun to be able to view him as a character, right? That used to be it. That used to be, you saw The Undertaker and you were like, this is what is this creature?
Right, then you listen to him talk and he's like, oh.
And then you're like,
nicest guy ever.
Mark Calloway. Okay. Hi, Mark. Like, it's just completely different. It ruins some of that magic. And I don't know. Maybe it's just me living in the world of realism, going anytime I can take a step out of it and enjoy the movie, I want to.
At this point, if you don't know wrestling is scripted, faked, staged, that's on you. The 608 Rhino says, going behind the scenes of pro wrestling and seeing the human side of it, it's extremely interesting to me. And that's what I want from all of the sports teams. And honestly, that's what drove me to create the Inside Wisconsin podcast, the brand in general, because I want to know these people as human beings. We all know what they do and how they do it, but who are you?
Yeah.
How did we help shape you? How did you help shape us? Like, I want to know your stuff. I want to know your story.
Okay. All right. I think I want to change my answer because I just thought about this. Saturday Night Live did a bunch of documentaries and specials during their 50th anniversary. I don't know if you watched Saturday Night Live, but they did a behind the scenes where they went through the process of what happens throughout the week. And you saw the writers and how they write the stuff and then it gets to it and how many of that doesn't get used.
Right.
And now when I watch SNL and there's a bad sketch, I go, man, how'd they choose this over something else? It completely changed my perspective. And that's what I'm afraid of with my major teams. I would love to see a documentary, a behind the curtain with the Milwaukee Admirals. I think that like a minor league team would be a lot of fun because there's so much more that has to go into it. You know, the players that you're playing with, knowing that the goal is to have them go on to an NHL team, knowing the importance of the giveaways and the extra stuff to get cheeks in the seats. That stuff would be interesting to me and not get me as frustrated maybe as it would with one of the major programs.
414-677-1250. Keep your opinions coming in on the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line. Brad, the Packers' secret sauce being exposed on Hard Knocks. Rich Pisaccia. This guy would be a Pro Bowl level special teams gunner. Goody. Yeah, but this undrafted free agent slots is great as a number 6 strike guard. Like all of that conversation. How do we get to these points? That's fascinating. I love that stuff.
Yeah. Be careful what you wish for.
There is that. What you don't know don't hurt you. Right?
That's right. That's right.
We need you to know on whether exploding trees is a thing or not.
Yes. Will your trees explode tomorrow? Tune in next to find out.
This stuff drives our guy Luke Sampe absolutely bat-you-know-what crazy.
Talk about a tease you never thought you'd hear.
Right? Up next, will your trees explode? We got the news for you here on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Luke Sampe joins us next. What world are we living in? Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. PSA, dangerously cold tomorrow. Like really dangerous. So we joke about exploding trees. We're going to continue to joke about it with Luke Sampe next. And I would be shocked if any kids have school tomorrow. But here you and I will be.
True.
Need we say more? Ryan Wood from the Green Bay Press Gazette joins 9 to noon with John Kuhn and Rami Makloff this morning at 10 a.m. to break it all down here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh with a few of our own guests. Our thanks to Lane Grindle for joining us this morning at 7 to help us break it down from the radio play-by-play man himself. Tim Allen joins us at 8 a.m. Luke Stampy joins us in a moment to talk about exploding trees and the dangerous cold that will be across the entire state of Wisconsin tomorrow. Speaking of tomorrow, you're going to want to make a note of this.
Sure are.
8 a.m. Joe Thomas will join us here on Inside Wisconsin Sports. Luke Fickell had a press conference yesterday and broke down what in the world is going on with Badgers football and what can we look forward to now that the transfer portal has closed. And after Joe Thomas, the one, the only, the most decorated female U.S. Winter Olympian of all time, Bonnie Blair, joins us at 8:25 tomorrow morning.
Whoop, whoop.
Dude, we've talked to some amazing people in our profession. We've been in some amazing places. When I talked to Bonnie Blair for the first time, I completely geeked out.
Yeah.
Like, that is a childhood hero of mine. And I cannot wait to catch up with her again tomorrow morning inside Wisconsin Sports, 8:25, Bonnie Blair. A close second to Bonnie Blair. Luke Stampy joins us now on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all.
Yeah, this is just wonderful, guys. I'm sure you talk glowingly about me like that, too.
I do.
Totally, bud.
All right, so this stuff drives you absolutely bonkers, meteorologist Luke Stampy, when posts like that come out yesterday, putting fear in everyone about exploding trees. Yet, I want you to listen to this. There was a meteorologist on Pat McAfee yesterday who literally talked about this very thing, that this is a plausibility. So before we get your expertise, listen to how this shook out on McAfee yesterday.
Do we have to worry about trees exploding? Where do we stand with all of this right now, Adam? If you could kind of be a weather expert for us as we watch ahead for a cold-ass weekend.
Yeah, exploding trees are weird. I haven't gotten to experience them, but it's when you get those huge temperature swings. It goes from warm and then temperatures drop rapidly. So you can go from temperatures above freezing to as cold as -20. These bring very little precip, but it brings very rapid temperature drops. So that's what you're going to see with the exploding tree risk. So basically, you got moisture that's in your trees. You got sap. When that gets really cold really quickly, anything that's liquid, when it freezes, expands. So what happens is your sap that's in the bark is moist. It starts to expand like an ice cube. This is the same with those trees when it freezes so rapidly. What happens is it expands. It sounds like a gunshot goes off as the bark is exploding a little bit.
Okay, so it's not the inside, the inner working of the tree exploding, because we thought potentially...
It can be.
Okay.
If you're not watching us on Twitter and YouTube right now, if you would have seen Luke Stampy's face listening to that clip.
All right, Luke Stampy, Chief Meteorologist, Channel 5, WFRV, the floor is yours.
It gets so over the top with everything. Now, I think the intention of the original poster's exploding tree forecast was tongue in cheek. I really do. I think he did it, to get attention. He got that. I really don't think he thinks we're going to have exploding forests or anything like that. Now, the physical processes that you just heard, all accurate. I mean, water expands. Water mains are going to break. I mean, do they explode? I guess technically, so we could have exploding water mains. It's a fact of physics when we get really, really cold air, water and liquids freeze and they expand and they can create some issues. Now, the thing with exploding trees and why that took off is because I think people saw that and they were like, is this new? Because I've never seen this, right? Like in the sports world, I kind of equate it to the Minnesota Vikings winning a Super Bowl. It's possible, but none of us have ever seen it.
Nailed it.
It's not bad. Not bad, Luke. Okay, so do you think what should people be expecting beyond just that it's going to be really cold? Like, what should people be preparing for tomorrow?
Well, I mean, it is going to be the coldest stretch of days that we've seen in Wisconsin, including even Milwaukee and Green Bay and certainly up north in about 7 years. You got to go back to January 30th and 31st to find a stretch of days where we weren't, above zero. Milwaukee's last day with a high below zero was January 30th of 2019. And then Green Bay, we had the lucky draw of 2 days in a row of not getting above zero, the 30th and the 31st. So it is rare, but I mean, the question I have for you guys, just in, being grown men and the people listening to us, adults, probably, some children probably too. But anyway, after 10 below zero, does it really matter how it feels outside?
Nope. I'm
Right.
not going.
Right.
I'm not going.
But there is just for like health and safety purposes a difference, right? I think you're referring to like the polar vortex. I know that was like a term that was thrown around for a while, and it literally said like, I know you might not be able to feel it, but don't be outside for longer than X amount of time, or it will impact your health.
Well, like exploding trees or trees that just simply crack or pop because they're freezing and that expansion happens. Your skin has moisture in it too, and so you can get frostbite in as little as 10 minutes in conditions like what we're expecting tomorrow morning. So, a lot of schools, I believe I saw Milwaukee Public Schools already canceled yesterday for Friday. So, you just want to limit your exposure outside. If you're layered up, if you're dressed up, Trevor, you're an ice fisherman, you've been in the outdoors, you've been in the woods. If you're layered up and dressed up, you're going to be just fine. You just got to be able to do that. And when we say limit your time outdoors, that's what we're saying. Just don't go outside for a long period of time with hardly any sort of layering on. If you're layered up, what's coming in, even tomorrow morning, you're going to be okay. You're going to be just fine.
Well, listen, Luke, as we let you go against a hard stop at the top of the hour, I just wanted to make sure that the next time I go out into the woods, that the tree that my tree stand is connected to hasn't exploded.
No, I mean, you're not going to see anything like that. And you've spent a lot of time in the woods. I want to ask you, how many trees have you seen explode or have evidence of it? How many?
Buddy, if it's 20 below, I'm nowhere near the woods.
He'd have no idea.
None.
If a tree explodes in the
near.
woods and no one's there to see it, did it really explode? Or?
Right. That's what I'm
Nailed
saying.
it.
That's exactly what I'm saying. No, we're all going to get through this, guys. You just got to layer up. It's winter in Wisconsin, and we'll be all okay. We'll talk Monday.
Luke Sampe, Chief Meteorologist, WFRV Channel 5. Luke, you jump on when we call. We appreciate you, man. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys. Take care.
Be safe tomorrow, Wisconsin. It is deadly cold. We're talking about serious temperatures, serious conditions. Luke said it. Milwaukee schools apparently have already closed. That's the tip of this iceberg, pun intended. There will be many more schools that close across the entire state tomorrow. And you heard it from Luke. Let's not worry about exploding trees. We're good. We are live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Up next on Inside Wisconsin Sports, the franchise. Tim Allen and Freddy Peralta news. Here we go.
It's time for today's fan weather forecast brought to you by Habish, and Rotier. It's sunny right now, windy later with a high of 18 and a low of -4. It's currently 11 degrees in Milwaukee, but feels like -3. Be careful out there. This has been your Habish, and Rotier fan weather forecast.
All right. We got 45. I think you heard me there. Talking to Tim, Glenn. I got the. Where is it? There it is. From 670 The Score with Murph. All right, here we go.
I am an eternal optimist. So please, God, don't tell me that you're an eternal pessimist.
I like to say I'm a realist.
Oh, great. We're going to get along great. This is going to be great.
This is Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
Again, a lot goes into judging, okay, what can we afford? What can't we afford? What makes sense if we are going to move somebody, like we did with Devin last year, or like we did with Hader when we did it, like there's a lot that goes into that, meaning, what does that mean for next year? Who are we going to have available to come up next year? Where are we at in this area or that area? So all that comes into play, and if it makes perfect sense to trade Freddy and we get the deal that we need to get, then that's part of doing business with the Milwaukee Brewers. And again, it's not for me to like or dislike. It's for me to understand. And, I love Freddy Peralta. I've been part of every pitch he's thrown in the big leagues. And, man, I just love the kid. You just feel like it's just part of our fabric. And I'd hate to have him not be with our team this year, but it could happen. And we got to be realistic about it.
There's Pat Murphy, courtesy of our friends to the south at 670 The Score. Indeed, Murph, it could happen, and it did last night. Freddy Peralta, along with Tobias Myers, traded to the Mets for a couple of prospects, but these aren't just any old prospects. We're talking about guys that are third and fifth in their entire organization and quickly became the top prospects in the Brewers organization, at least in the top 5 as well. Jet Williams and is it Sprout or Sprout?
Sprout is what I've heard.
Who's going to ask him first? Hey, how do you pronounce your name, bud?
I'm going to go Sprout.
We'll go with Sprout. At least that's what they said on the play-by-play that we heard earlier. But yeah, starting pitcher, Brandon Sprout. Jet Williams, now Milwaukee Brewers. What's up, Wisconsin? Welcome in Inside Wisconsin Sports. Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht.
Hi.
Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Joining us now, the franchise himself on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. It's none other than Tim Allen. Tim, my 8-year-old godson, Nolan, is pissed. Help me talk him and tell him it's going to be okay. What's up, franchise? Good to see you.
Yeah, good morning, fellas. You guys are sounding good. It's it's a balance. It's an emotional balance for me. I mean, I'm not on the verge of an emotional collapse quite yet. I'm getting there. This is the way I think the Brewers, in their minds, have to do things. This is the way they have to do it. It's unfortunate. Now, immediately here's what you got to measure. The goal is the World Series. Get the ring. We have to break through at some point. Did this make this team better in the 26 championship season? Raise your hands if it made it better. I don't. Bueller? Anybody?
No.
I'm just talking about this season. Now, over the course of time, here's a good one. Sustain a competitive organization year over year. Okay, that's a good one. That's great. But what does it do for the World Series this year? Strange things happen. I get it. Maybe a different mix here. There's maybe some additional offense or some additional, in your face, another base runner, keep the line moving. We're going to steal bases. We're going to do all these things. Okay, maybe that works. You just lost one of the best pitchers in the game. I'm not going to judge this trade right now. Who wins the trade? Because let's face it, the Mets are going to have Freddy Peralta essentially for 1 year, and who knows where he goes from there. They may sign him, but who knows where he goes from here. I'm not going to judge the overall trade right now because I think that's a fool's errand at times. Are we supposed to judge the Corbin Burns trade immediately? No, we have to wait until Joey Ortiz and DL Hall do their thing or don't do their thing, then we can judge it. But in terms of right now, fellas, you lost. Look at his ERA. Look at his starts. Look at his strikeouts. Look at the big game mentality. Look at the organizational, kind of good guy in that clubhouse. For right now, the Cubs just got better.
So, Timmy, you said that this trade doesn't affect or impact in a positive way, the 2026 champion series run from the Brewers. Are you saying that you feel that way because it doesn't have Freddy Peralta, or because what we got in return for Freddy wasn't a big league slugger bat that helps the lineup, or something that directly impacts the team right now?
Yeah, no, because of Freddy, because of the loss of Freddy.
Okay.
I'm not going to discount what Sproat can do, or Jet Williams. I'm not going to discount that because it could be cool. It probably is going to be cool. I'm sure they're both top 100 prospects around baseball. They're down around the 70s or 80s, but nonetheless, top 100 prospects. They're 3-5, Trevor, as you pointed out, in the Mets organization. But to lose a 2.70 ERA and 33 starts, Freddy Peralta was an anchor. Now, the dangerous part of this, and not that they can't get it done, because a lot of people say that the Brewers are pitching rich and they're young, so they can afford to do this and get something in return for Peralta instead of nothing. You're subjected. It would have looked a lot better with Freddie, Woody, then insert Priester, Mizorowski, and then just a fierce competition between Gasser and Henderson and Chad Patrick and all these other guys for one spot. Now all the guys I just mentioned are for two spots. And Brandon Woodruff with the health concerns, he should be fine, but I mean, can you guarantee it? Like you could Freddie. Freddie, solid as a rock. Do I sound like I don't like the trade? Probably. You just lost one of the best pitchers in the game. I mean, that's the reality of this. People, are accusing me of not being a realist because the Brewers have to do it this way. All I know is that I want them to win a World Series, and I want them to win a World Series this year. And you lost one of the best six pitchers in the game. Think about that. 2.70 ERA, 33 starts, a strikeout machine. Do you want him a little more innings? Yeah, you do. 176. You'd like to get that up a little bit, but that's not today's baseball. It's tough. It was tough when Corbin Burns was traded. It was tough when Devin Williams was traded. It was tough when all these guys get traded, but I should be used to it. But I'm not.
Tim Allen joins us on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Tim, we call him the franchise, entering his 21st season on the radio here in Wisconsin, and the baseball postgame show right here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. How did the hot stove show go yesterday with Tommy Warts, Timmy? And did you guys talk about this knowing that it was imminent, or did you just think it was going to be something at some point?
Yeah, well, I was hoping that they couldn't get a deal done, and it would be Freddy and Woody and Mizorowski and Priester, your front four. And as I said, insert whoever you want in that 5 spot or 6 spot. A lot of teams are going 6, but yeah, I was on the show last night. If you want to go to YouTube and grab some of those interviews or the entire show, you can go there, because we had Eric Tyson, the Brewers' lead hitting coach, and Chris Hook, pitching coach, on last night. Great conversations. But yeah, we discussed it, and we knew it was sort of imminent. Deep down, we just kind of know how the Brewers function. And you just heard Murph there on the score in Chicago talk about that it's just the way the Milwaukee Brewers have to do business. That's unfortunate. I'm sure the organization was working on an extension for him, but man, I don't blame him, Freddy, for wanting to reach that pinnacle. And it's a final year. He's not going to go long term. He's going to test. He has another season like he just did. Could you guys imagine what he's going to get paid on the market? He's not even 30 yet. He's going to make a bundle.
Well, don't you think the Brewers know that, though? Is that ultimately why they had to make this decision?
That's right. And that's the point. Yeah, the Brewers have to do it this way just because. But can you afford to keep a guy like they did Willie Adames? Why didn't they do it with Adames then? You could make that argument. Maybe it was pitching rich in the organization, and you have Chris Hook, the guru in pitching, and maybe that covers you on the pitching side of things, so you can move those guys. Position players, maybe their philosophy is just ride them out, and then get the compensatory pick or whatever you're going to get. But I could also make the argument, Trevor, Josh. I could make the argument that you might get more in July when there's some bigger market teams that are desperate for a pitcher like that. Now, they wouldn't, the Brewers would not get, any compensatory pick once Freddy signed a big deal at that point. But, hey, you could make that argument that for the Burns deal in July of that year, you could have gotten more. I want to win a World Series, and I hope people understand that losing a pitcher like this for this minute in time did not help the cause. When you lose a pitcher like that, you did not help your cause to win a World Series this year.
Tim, do you really think, and this is just a realist to a realist here, do you really think that if the Brewers would have essentially ran it back, right, which is what they would have done if they just let Freddie go and run out the contract here, that this team has what it needs to make that push over a team like the Dodgers and these other teams that have all the money in the world and they're just loading
there,
up?
Josh. Yeah, I do. They were right there last year. They won 97 games. They were in the NLCS. They got another notch in their gun belt of exercising the demons of the wild card, loss to the Mets the year prior. They actually, didn't have to play in that wild card. They then get a divisional postseason victory over a pretty good baseball club in the Chicago Cubs. They get into the NLCS. Yeah, I do, because things can just bounce the other way. You don't think they learned from that? You don't think Bryce Terang going 1 for 15 in the NLCS learned from that experience? Or Sal Frelick 1 for 14, or Christian Yelich 2 for 14? They all could have advanced and probably will. They probably will do better. I'm not saying that they can't get back to that level or get back there and get a shot at a World Series. Sure, they can. There's enough talent here to do that, but is it as good as we speak right now without seeing a Jacob Mizorowski for 25 or more starts, without seeing Woody's health hang in there? I don't know if you can make that assertion that the team got better without Freddy Peralta. They may have. We'll find out come May, June, July, August.
Tim Allen, Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. On
It
the
just
Wisconsin
sucks, guys. I'm just telling you, it sucks losing a guy like this. It does. No,
That's
we'll
exactly
endure
how
that.
we open the show, man.
Oh,
That's exactly
he's
how we-
going through it today.
So we all are, and maybe that's the hardest part about this, because in one hand, we as Brewers fans are somewhat used to this, unfortunately.
Should
and
be.
on the other hand, the conversation that you just had in regard to Josh's question, do we really think we have a shot? And at the end of the day, we can only control so much. And what we can, though, control is our fandom. And so maybe that's just where I land as an eternal optimist in this. This does not ever make me consider not being a Brewers fan. Ever.
Exactly.
And so I'm going to go into summer with my head held high, knowing that we have the majority of the team that we had last year back. And that team had the most wins in Major League Baseball and in Brewers history.
I'm with you, Trevor, and I don't know if you guys know this. I've spoken about this a time or two, not too much. I threatened to not be a Brewers fan one year, and that was when the Brewers were entering their 20th year without making the playoffs. So 2002 or 2001, whatever would be the 20th year. I'm like, if they don't make the playoffs this year, that's it. I'm going to be a Rockies or a Diamondbacks or White Sox. I think White Sox was my target because just of proximity, and I wasn't going to go Cubs. So I threatened that. I'm with you. There's nothing that they could do that would tear me away from the love that I have for this team. Nothing. I mean, they could make the worst trade in the world, and I'd still love them tomorrow morning. Does it suck at times? Yeah. But now, on the other hand, when you look at a 22-year-old Jet Williams, it gives you some encouraging things to think about. The 14th overall pick. He passed on his college to Mississippi State, reached AAA last year, AA and AAA. 134 games, hit 261, 17 bombs for a 5'7", 175 scat back. This kid hits 17 bombs. He steals 1 million bases. He plays short, second, center field. Versatility. That is defined as a Milwaukee Brewers offensive player, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're right.
Tim, you're unbelievable. You're just so epic at what you do. I mean, Josh and I literally behind the scenes are looking at each other through this camera going, what?
How can he spit? How are you spitting all that out?
Yeah, I love this team, and that's why. And maybe it's too emotional, but you guys know that I had promised that I was going to be a fan first, and then be this broadcaster second. And I'm fortunate that my bosses have allowed me to do that. I mean, come on, let's go have a beer and a brat and catch a Brewers game. And so, again, there's some positives to this. We don't know, going back to the Corbin Burns deal, we don't know that DL Hall won't be the breakout pitcher of the year in Major League Baseball. He certainly has the stuff to do so. He's got to stay healthy. Joey Ortiz proved in 23 that he could actually hit the baseball. Or was it 20? Yeah, 24, late 24.
It just wasn't 2025.
It wasn't 25.
Yeah,
no,
that's all I know for
he could not hit the baseball in 25. but he could. He has shown that. He has shown that in the minors. He's shown it in a Brewers uniform for a group of games. And actually the sample size is pretty decent for him in 24. But I mean, we don't really know at the end of the day. We all want to play GM, and I'm no different. But yeah, and now Brandon Sprout, I'll just say this. Now his numbers don't jump off the sheet at you. A 4, almost a 5 ERA, and it's limited starts, 4 starts in the big leagues. And his AAA numbers were 4.5-ish. But look, I will just cite the example of Quinn Priester. Nobody was raving over his numbers when the Brewers acquired him for a prospect. And a lot of people say, well, why don't the Brewers ever send prospects away to get what they need? They've done that. I can cite some examples. Maybe we'll go into that next week's show. But they did it with Quinn Priester. And a lot of people said, oh, man, one of the Brewers' top prospects, Yoferi Rodriguez, for Quinn Priester, really? And look what happens. They turn things around to Quinn Priester. He's rock solid. Now, he's got to back it up. We all know that in 26. But I'm trying to pinch myself to say, whoa, wait a second. Where do you make up those numbers for Freddie's loss? Well, Sproat may be one. Angel Serpa that they received in the Isaac Collins, Nick Mears deal. Can you recoup or find lightning in a bottle with one of those guys? It's not impossible to do.
There you go. See?
All right. I was going day drinking there for a little bit, but now
brought it back. Brought it back. We're on a level playing field.
Okay.
Tim Allen joins us on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Timmy, thanks for your flexibility. We will chat with you again on Monday. Be good, brother.
Yeah, anytime, guys. Thanks.
Thanks, Tim.
He's unbelievable. He's just the greatest to ever do it and to ever. I mean, I love him so much.
Yeah.
He's so incredible.
Yeah. I mean, just the passion and just being able to just go.
For the record, I still plan on day drinking tomorrow because that's all tomorrow's going to be. Let's be real.
Yeah. Stock up tonight.
Go grab some pizza at Max, and you might see me there at 5:00 still. We'll see.
There you go.
All right. When we come back, let's talk about some positive stuff. What is the greatest sporting game you've ever been to? Let's reminisce a bit and go down memory lane as Brewers fans, Packers fans. It doesn't even have to involve them. What's the greatest sporting event you have ever been to? The Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text Line, 414-677-1250. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. And we are inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Thanks, Tim. Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Brandon snide on the ones and twos for a bit here. Josh had to run out for a family commitment this morning. Brandon, good to see you.
Good morning. Like the bullpen, not Freddy Peralta, but they're pulling me out of the bullpen. So too soon. I know. I like the trade though.
Me too. I really do. I don't like losing a starting pitcher of Freddy's caliber,
right.
And it is what it is. I guess I've just prepared my heart and my mind for all of these things just to be the norm for the Milwaukee Brewers.
I tell Brewers fans too, and I know you guys just got done talking about this, and I hate to, blow this segment up with Freddy Peralta talk, but where were we when we traded Josh Hader? Like, everybody remembers where they were. Everybody remembers how they felt. Everybody remembers how angry they were, and what did that trade net you? You eventually got Robert Gasser, a guy you'll see this year be a big part of your rotation, and arguably, Trevor, the best catcher in baseball. You got William Contreras off of that trade eventually. So just for Brewers fans, just relax. You'll be okay.
Amen, man. We don't know what we don't know. We do know what the best sporting events are that we were ever attending. And that's the idea for this segment. And you already on the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line, 414-677-1250, are taking a trip down memory lane with us. That's the goal here. We know the Freddy Peralta stuff has us a little down in the dumps, but may we reminisce for a hot second and remember some of the good times. Maybe they involve Freddy Peralta and the Milwaukee Brewers. I'm going to be honest, Brandon, one of my top ones way up there is that game one of the NLDS.
Oh,
and that involved
year?
Freddy Peralta.
Yeah. You guys all went. You and Josh went, correct?
Yeah. Josh, Andy, and Brookfield, my buddy Jason in the 920, and that was about as epic of a sports moment in a sports game here in Wisconsin that I can remember. What if you had to pick one, maybe two, Brandon? What are your favorite sporting events that you've ever been to?
So there's two of them that come to mind. One of them more recently than the other. I'll start with the older one, and I know you'll remember this, Trevor, being up in Green Bay. I had just gotten back from, for those that are not familiar, I was in the Army in a prior life, and I had just gotten back from Iraq about a few days before Christmas, and my buddy and I, we're high school buddies. We went out and we splurged on Packer tickets. They were hosting the Chicago Bears at their regular season finale. A lot of things had to fall into place for the Packers to get into the playoffs that year. Remember, like the Giants had to lose to the Eagles or whatever it was outside looking in for the Packers. They had to beat the Chicago Bears. The Bears had, I think they were the number 1 or number 2 seed that year. This is the Super Bowl year for the Green Bay Packers. And the Bears could have rested their starters at Lambeau Field. It was the regular season finale. We got the tickets to go to this game. The Bears could have rested their starters. They opted not to because they wanted to beat the Green Bay Packers and knock them out of the playoffs. My buddy John Kuhn, a part of that team, and we bought those tickets. We spent the weekend up in Green Bay. It was an ugly game. I think the final was like 10-3 or something, Trevor. It was cold. It was brutal. Yeah. But there was a feeling at Lambeau Field that year. And it was the only game I went to because I was gone for the full year up until we went to that game. And this is when the regular season would end sooner than it does now, obviously with the extra week. And there was a feeling at Lambeau Field with the crowd, with the energy that if the Packers could win, like you had a feeling like something special was brewing. Aaron Rodgers was warming up, and that was just a week ago. They dropped almost 40 points on the Giants, and something was just felt good and special about that team. And they go on and beat the Bears, and obviously the rest is history. So I'm always proud to say I was able to watch the Super Bowl champion Green Bay Packers before they actually won the Super Bowl. And then the number 2 one for me is Game 6 at Pfizer Forum. I didn't go into the arena. I wasn't in the arena. I wasn't lucky enough to get into the arena. I don't have the bank account to get into the arena that day, but I was out in Deer District, man. And I'm telling you right now, it was the most insane thing I've ever experienced from a sporting event in my entire life. I think there was like 300,000+ fans down there in the Deer District. We picked up my mom from work at about 3:30 in the afternoon. And Trevor, from 3:30 in the afternoon, roughly 4 o'clock-ish by the time we parked and got down to downtown Milwaukee, from 4 o'clock p.m. to about 3 o'clock in the morning, we were at the Deer District. We're watching the Bucks win the championship. Awesome. I'm right down there in the big screen TV. You got the fireworks going over. You got random people hugging each other. I get goosebumps just talking about it. Like, it was the most electrifying event I've ever been a part of. And obviously, winning a championship is also fun, but like, it was cool to see a city, a state come together in a way that we just have never seen before. Like, we go to bars and restaurants and you can watch Packer games. Titletown has the district now, and you can gather, but we've never seen something up until that point where you could gather literally the whole state in one spot. It felt like the whole state in one spot and celebrate Giannis and the Bucks. And now with the struggles that they're having, Trevor, you kind of look back at that in 2021. You're like, man, that was the golden days. That was the golden days.
Those were the days.
Those were the days. So yeah, those are the two. The Packers beating the Bears, their regular season finale to get into the postseason, and eventually they would go on to win a Super Bowl. And then the other one for me is the Bucks Game 6 down at Pfizer Forum, and it was the prophecy, right? Bucks in 6. They won it in 6. They did it the hard way. They homegrown players, Giannis, all the people that were down there. I actually ran into Elizabeth Kay back in 2021, our sister station 99.1, the Mix. She was down there as well. So I mean, just it brought the way that team and the city and the state came together will be something I will never forget.
The Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line, 414-677-1250. The 920 says, the best sporting event I've been to is the 2006 NCAA Hockey Regional Final at the Hallowed Resch Center, Wisconsin versus Cornell, 1-0, 3 overtimes. Jack Skill scored on the 100th shot of the game. I was in 8th grade, and I believe we were there for almost 6 hours. That is a tough one. I've been to a Wisconsin game at the Resch Center before. I cannot remember for the life of me if it was that one or not. 20 years ago, a lot of brain cells have been killed since then. The 480, we went to the 94 Rose Bowl. I was a junior in high school. First time on an airplane. First time, obviously, in California. Went to Disneyland while we were there. I will never forget that game. So awesome. The 262, fellas, I've been lucky enough to witness several great sporting events, including Freeman's overtime catch in the rain, Braun's walk-off grand slam, Favre's dive into the end zone at County Stadium, but the absolute best was Robin Yount's 3,000th hit, Stephen Richfield.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. It's hard to argue that one.
Paul from GB, best sporting event ever, the NCAA Regional Hockey Tourney Final. Badgers win in triple overtime. Is this like the new Ice Bowl? There was 700,000 people in the Resch Center that day. I remember when I think so. I'll have to ask my buddy Adam if that's the game that we were at. Trevor drank too much back then. My greatest game is a tie between Bogut's last second tip in from a lob during one of the favorite Bucs seasons ever, the Salmon's year, or the playoff game when Giannis Form tackled Dunleavy. Then the Bucs tickets started getting too expensive. Jake from West Bend, I believe, says probably Ron Renicke's last win as a Brewers manager. At Wrigley, wearing a Braun jersey, I got in a shouting match, almost fisticuffs, with some punk kids that slapped their girls. What? I ended up getting a standing ovation and drinking for free the rest of the game at the dugout after the game. Bud, I don't know how you didn't throw hands on that one.
I'm surprised with a lot of the Brewer ones we're getting. Nobody was talking about, 82, the 2008 CC Sabathia year. Trevor was a fun year. And then
my favorite one ever is Brewers related. 2011, game 1 of the NLCS. Brandon Woodruff hit that home run off of Clayton Kershaw. The greatest sporting event I've ever been to. That moment
crowd pop was, I don't know if we've topped that yet.
We haven't, not in my tenure anyway. I thought the roof was going to blow off the place. The pop was unbelievable. And all I can picture is Brandon Woodruff running the bases, fist pumping galore. Absolute blast to watch.
That was such a special year. You talk about that year, that game 163 down at Wrigley, right? Like that's another one that I'm sure a lot of Brewers fans. I remember Mark Antanasio walking around the mezzanine after that game, and Brewer fans were coming up to him and high-fiving him and hugging him. That year was special. That was a special year, and they were so close. A Chris Taylor catch in left field from going to the World Series.
The 920 says, my favorite game I was at because it was free and cold as hell, and I didn't expect anything. Matt Flynn throwing 6 touchdown passes.
Got paid from that game.
Yeah, he did. And he went out to Seattle and didn't do that ever again. A lot of feedback from Tim Allen and how he just summed up what was the Freddy Peralta trade.
Where was Teddy? Where was Timmy on the Freddy trade? Was he? He's an optimistic guy to begin with. So was he feeling pretty good about it?
I don't think so.
Really?
I would. Yeah. He's processing. like many Brewers fans today, and he shared that he does not believe the Brewers got better in a season when they were so close to being back in the World Series. Now, listen, you can look at the Dodgers series and go, close. What was close about that? He means the team. And having Freddy Peralta this season gave them the better chance of being in the World Series this year than without him. So that's kind of where he landed. Look at all these texts, Brandon. My God. All right, the 262. Scotty Tiffany. Last year, we were at the draft and got a picture of at least one fan from every team, with the Packers fan being none other than Wayne himself. We then went to the induction of Sterling Sharp into the Hall of Fame, seated right behind his family. We also saw Skeens and Miz's game. Epic sports year for us. I would say so.
Yeah, that's a good one.
The 920 NASCAR race that secured Matt Kenseth's championship in Rockingham, North Carolina. Man, have you ever been to a NASCAR race?
I haven't. My dad is really into it. And he has been my whole life. I remember it, but that would always be nap time for me. Like I could not stay up for it. I couldn't get into it. But I have heard, Trevor, like they're different when you go there. Like if you go to the event, it's a lot different than watching them make a left-hand turn every, few seconds on the television. I have heard going to those events will suck you in and make you become a fan, and they are something unreal. So I have not been to one. I would love to go to one at some point in my life, but I have not been to one yet.
When the Badgers won in the NCAA tournament to go to the Final Four in 2000 with Mike Kelly and his team, I was at Bristol with my family.
Okay.
I think I was 16 years old. So I did not appreciate it for what it was. I have some crazy ass stories from that I'll tell someday.
I believe it.
414. Hey, this is Sean. I've been to many events. I've been to the Ryder Cup. I've been to Game 7 of the NLCS against the Dodgers. And the best game or sporting event I've been to was Game 163 that you just mentioned.
There you go. I was waiting. I figured we would eventually get a few. That whole year was incredible. They were chasing the Cubs all summer and finally caught up to them. And Game 163 at Wrigley Field, Bob Uecker on the call, Josh Hader on the mound. Like, a lot of that team no longer here anymore, unfortunately, now with Freddy part of that. But it is that was a special year. That was a fun year.
The best game I've ever been to, Rhino in the 608. I was at the NFC Championship game rematch against the Seahawks in 2015. James Jones beat Richard Sherman for a touchdown, loudest I've ever heard Lambeau in my life. Was that the Snow Bowl? Was that the year? No, that wasn't.
No, because they played Seattle in the snow in 2020, 2021. They did.
Favre was still the quarterback.
That was
07. Yeah, that was the game before the NFC Championship game against the Giants.
Correct.
That's right.
Yep.
The 262. I was at the Game 3 wild card. Bowers, Frelick, back-to-back homers. Loudest environment I've ever been in until it was the quietest I've ever been in.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
A great memory from the 414 says it wasn't exactly the game, but the whole experience of the last game played at Milwaukee County Stadium. It was magical. Jacob in Tosa, I was lucky enough to be at Melvin Gordon's 408-yard rushing game. Speaking of snow globes. The 920, Jason Titletown says I was at the Bradley Center to see Milwaukee's own Anthony Showtime Pettis win the UFC lightweight championship. That's awesome.
That is really cool. That's another thing that I would love to go and do. I haven't done before is a UFC type fight.
Okay, I've been to one of those, dude. Like watching it on TV and you go, ooh.
Yeah. It's different when you're there, isn't it?
Buddy, when you watch somebody lose consciousness in person and they pick up their legs and get their blood back, you process it a little differently.
Yeah.
Am I watching a human being die right now?
A little bit more respect after you leave that arena for that night.
Man, you guys' engagement here, Wisconsin, is unbelievable. We're going to keep going on this a little bit more, Brandon, then we're going to break. 414, Brad said, my best game was the Badgers championship at the Bradley Center. As a fun fact, I was also at Jose Canseco's 40 for 40 game. I watched him steal the base on Brewer Vision, which is a crappy 19-inch TV, hanging by the concession stand because I was buying a hot dog. Like your style. The best game from the 919, Badgers turning Kentucky into 38 and done.
Yeah, that was another good year. That was another special run. And they should have done it. They should have finished it against Duke. Trevor, to this day, will go to my grave saying that Justice Winslow was the last one to touch the basketball in that game. The Badgers should have won that game. They were robbed of a national championship. Special year, another special year that fell so close. I feel like we have more of those than the other way around, which I guess is probably normal. But winning championships are a difficult thing to accomplish. But man, have we had some heartbreak in this state.
We're going to carry this over with Rami, who's joining us when we come back from 9 to noon with John Kuhn and Rami Makloff. We're going to ask him what his favorite sporting event ever was. And if he says something about Chicago, Brandon's going to turn his mic off and we'll just keep reading your texts. By the way, shout out to Jeff from Fox Point. This was his idea 2 months ago. We made a note on it, knowing that it would come to fruition at some point. I want to make sure I get his in here. Wisconsin's 2015 Final Four game against Kentucky in Indy was his. So there you go. A couple votes for that one as well. All right, we're back in a bit. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Keep them coming in. Wisconsin, the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line 414-677-1250. We're inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. We're back inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Brandon stepping in for Josh here to end the show. Josh had to buzz out for some family stuff. Rami Makloff from 9 to noon with John Kuhn, and Rami Makloff also joins us now. Rami, we're having a great discussion.
Yeah, I heard it.
About, don't ruin it. How about that? So, what is your favorite sporting event? And can you please make it about anything but those? Yeah, you know what I'm. Yeah, okay, yeah. Just what's your favorite sporting event?
Does it have? Okay, I do have a couple that are Wisconsin related.
Good. Let's go with those. Go with those.
Can I just run through the ones that are near and dear to my heart? And I think one of these. Can you go
one? Just choose one.
Okay, I was at the first game at Wrigley Field after 9/11, and Sammy Sosa hits the home run and pulls the American flag out of his pocket and waves it around as he's running the bases. I get chills every time I even talk about it. Like
that qualifies
legitimately. Okay, and I think that's one that we can all get on the same page.
Absolutely.
2 Wisconsin ones, and one is a funny. Actually, 3 technically. One is a funny story. So I have a friend who, at the time, was running Uncle Buck's in the Deer District when the Bucks went on their championship run, and he set me and a bunch of my buddies up in a VIP section that looks right out to that big screen in the in the beer garden there. So I technically wasn't at the game, but I was in the thick of it for the Eastern Conference Championship and when they brought home the NBA title. Legitimately, like, 2 of the greatest sports memories as a fan that I've had. Like, that was a party, boy, and just the atmosphere, the electricity in that place.
Shirtless Rami.
I got
buddy Bart.
Got shirtless with my buddy Bart. We bumped chest. It was a whole. That was amazing.
That was on my list as well.
If you've never had champagne sprayed on you in celebration,
that's valid. Yeah,
just do it. Like, find a good time to just spray some champagne.
That's interesting,
dude. It was.
I'm
great.
trying to think back. The only time I would have had that opportunity, and my dad texted me this in the break. He said the 2007 Stag Bowl. My brother was on the NCAA Division III National Championship UW Whitewater football team.
Yeah.
That was a moment when I'm like, I'm not gonna lie to you. The later that night went, the less I remember. But it was a blast. There may have been champagne involved.
It stings. I see why they wear the goggles and the sunglasses. it does sting when it gets in your eyes. The other one? The other one was 2021. Remember when the Brewers came back and beat the Cardinals and won on a walk-off grand slam? So
that was Ryan Braun.
Was it Ryan Braun who hit that?
The grand slam?
Yeah.
Okay,
here's dead center.
Here's why I don't remember who hit it, gentlemen. All right, so this one, look, most of the ball games I go to watch baseball. Like, I'm very into the baseball, and I'm there to watch baseball. I had some friends in from out of town, and we all went and tailgated at the game. We went in and we watched the game, and the Brewers were down big, and we were drinking. All right. We were drinking from tailgate through the entire game. And, they stop alcohol sales after is it the 7th inning, whatever it is. So we were like, we want to keep drinking. We're going out to the parking lot.
Pause for a moment. I just got a correction text from a person that happened to be there for that home run.
Okay.
Lane Grindle says it was Vogelbach, actually.
It was.
Now
that he said it, I remember.
I'm thinking of the one at St. Louis, I think was Ryan Braun. Yeah,
That's awesome.
was.
Yeah, no, this was at the time Miller Park. So we're like, this game is over. Let's go back to the parking lot and drink. And we go back to the parking lot, and you hear the roar of the crowd constantly as the game is going on, and the Brewers are making the comeback. And we're like, I think we're missing something here. So
that's the worst.
So we put it on the radio and sat there and listened. But still, it's like a core sports memory for me. And Brewers fans were coming out, and we were high-fiving them. We were trash. Trevor, if there's one thing that I think me and Brewers fans can get down with, and I am a Brewers fan on some level. The Cubs are my team, but I always say if it's not going to be us, I want it to be you. So we're high-fiving Brewers fans as they're coming out and just dogging Cardinals fans. Oh, man, just giving them the business.
That's your rival.
I hate the Cardinals. Trevor, I hate the Cardinals.
Alcohol may have been a factor.
Yes, absolutely. But that it was like, even though we missed the comeback, it's still a really good memory, just good times with friends. And it's a funny story that you'd walk out to go to the parking lot to start drinking or continue drinking and miss one of the greatest comebacks in Brewers history.
And that was a no doubter too.
Yeah.
That was electric,
dude.
That was a pop.
We were not near the stadium, and the roar of the crowd was audible.
It's funny you say that because I was in the living room. This is before we bought the house that we're into now, and my wife was out in the garden in the backyard. She could hear me screaming in the house. I was in the house.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it was a great.
It was
comeback.
amazing from what I remember.
Hopefully, with Vogie back on staff now, maybe more of those to come in the future here for the crew.
Maybe.
I understand the hate for the Cardinals, by the way, as we get out here and head to 9 to noon with John Kuhn and Rami Makloff. I was in St. Louis for what I thought was the day after opening day between the Cards and the Cubs. Did not know it rained out. And when I got out of the Uber, I was surrounded at that Hilton right next to the Busch Stadium by Cardinals and Cubs jerseys. And I was like, oh, sweet. Hell, this is what it's like. Got it. Rami Makloff, we appreciate you jumping on. We will hear from you and our guy John Kuhn next 9 to noon with John Kuhn and Rami Makloff. That is coming up. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. We love you, Wisconsin. We're inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. See you tomorrow.